Hi, Taurus. Welcome to Eternal Mindfulness, the place where divine timing meets divine truth. Let me ask you something powerful right off the bat. What if the moment you've been waiting for is already unfolding behind the scenes, and the universe brought you here to witness it? This isn't a coincidence. It never was. Maybe you stumbled across this video late at night. Maybe you've been seeing angel numbers, feeling strange energy shifts, or hearing your own intuition whisper a little louder than usual. However you arrived, know this: you were guided. Right now, between April 4th and April 6th, something in your energy is shifting, deeply and unmistakably. For some, it may feel like déjà vu. For others, a quiet stirring, a spiritual ping in your chest. Whatever it is, don't brush it off. That is your inner self responding to something much bigger than logic, a cosmic invitation. This message, this moment, this video, it found you because your soul asked for it. And no, that's not just beautiful language. That's alignment. That's resonance. That's vibration matching vibration. You see, Taurus, you're not here to hope something good happens anymore. You're here because something already is happening. A door is opening. A wish is being granted. A cycle is completing. And I'm here simply as your reminder, to trust what you feel, to recognize your own power in co-creating what's to come. Like a seed that's cracked open underground, unseen but alive, you are in a moment of becoming. You're not late. You're not off track. You're exactly where you're meant to be. And if you're still watching this, that matters. That means some part of you already knows what I'm saying is true. So before we dive deeper into your energy, the tarot cards, the astrology, the divine signs waiting for you in this reading, let me take a moment to thank you. Truly. Thank you for being here. For every like, every comment, every time you subscribe or share this channel, you're not just helping Eternal Mindfulness grow, you're becoming part of a community that believes in magic, truth, and deep healing. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for showing up, not just for me, but for yourself. And Taurus, trust me when I say this, you'll want to stay until the very end of today's reading. Because what the universe is about to reveal? It's more than a message. It's a confirmation. It's a turning point. Now, let me ask you something. What energy did you put into the universe that brought you here today? And are you ready to receive what's coming? Let's begin. It's often in the smallest, most fleeting signs that we receive the loudest confirmations. A number repeating itself on a receipt, the time on your phone glowing 1441 just when you're lost in thought, or the license plate 0440 pulling your eyes during traffic, these aren't coincidences. When life begins to echo back to you through these subtle, numerical whispers, it's because the rhythm of your inner world is aligning with the flow of the universe around you. And right now, Taurus, that alignment is speaking volumes. The presence of 2112 is no ordinary sequence. It's a message wrapped in symmetry, showing you that although progress might seem slow, everything is moving, and it's moving toward you. Like waves approaching the shore, what you've long asked for is steadily coming closer. But what matters most isn't just the manifestation itself. It's who you are becoming in the waiting. This number reminds you that you're not meant to stand still in expectation, but to live now as though your wish has already unfolded, because, in a deeper sense, it has. 0440 arrives as a quiet nudge inward. It tells you to listen not with your ears, but with your inner knowing. Intuition doesn't always speak in words or visions. Sometimes, it's a gentle contraction in your chest when something feels off, or a subtle joy rising when something feels right. This number is here to affirm that those feelings are valid, not only valid but sacred. You already hold more truth than you think. You don't need to wait for clarity to be handed to you. It's already flickering softly within, like a lantern just waiting for your breath to awaken the flame. Then, we see 1441, a number that holds the weight of your potential. It's not a promise that things will be easy, but a reminder that mastery doesn't come from rushing or comparing, but from returning again and again to your craft, your calling, your voice. Think of the way a mountain stands, not in competition, not seeking validation, simply rising in its own time, shaped slowly by wind and rain. You too are being shaped by time, by trial, by devotion. This number reminds you to return to what brings you closer to your essence. Your skills, even the ones you've long ignored, are not random. They are expressions of your dharma, your unique path. When taken together, these numbers form a rhythm, a spiritual heartbeat that pulses through your days. 2112 steadies your faith. 0440 tunes your awareness. 1441 sharpens your presence. This trinity of codes is not here to dazzle or distract, but to center you in the here and now, where real transformation happens. Much like the still pond reflects the moon only when its surface is undisturbed, your life reflects clarity when you stop trying to chase answers and start listening to what's already true. There's a simple practice you might try during these days. Write down the one wish that tugs at your heart the most. Fold it carefully, and place it beneath your pillow for 3 nights. Let your dreams become fertile soil. And before sleep, whisper this quiet mantra to yourself: I am ready to receive what is already mine. This is not an act of desperation, but of surrender, the soft power of knowing that what is meant for you has always known its way home. You don't need to force the unfolding. The seed doesn't beg the soil to grow, it simply opens. So too can you, Taurus. Gently, boldly, from within. Some energies speak softly, yet their presence reshapes everything. Between April 4th and 6th, Taurus, you are being quietly supported by a rare cosmic harmony, a movement not loud like thunder, but steady like the breath of the earth beneath your feet. During these few days, the moon passes through a fire sign, igniting dormant corners of your emotional world. But this fire is not one of destruction, it's the fire of initiation, of awakening. It stirs within you a sense of urgency, not to rush, but to begin. To move forward on something you've long placed on the shelf. It is the gentle yet firm reminder that waiting can only serve you until action becomes the next right step. At the same time, Venus, your planetary guide, forms a balanced aspect with Saturn, the great keeper of time, structure, and responsibility. This is an invitation to come home to yourself. To rebuild, not from pressure or performance, but from peace. Think of it as the restoration of a sacred space within you that holds your truest values. You may find clarity around what love really means to you. Not just romantic love, but the kind of love that allows you to say no. The kind that honors your energy. The kind that holds boundaries without bitterness. When these planetary forces come together, they ask for one thing: honesty. Not the kind you speak aloud, but the kind you quietly admit to yourself in the stillness of early morning. That perhaps you've outgrown something, a routine, a role, a version of yourself that once made sense. Or perhaps you've been waiting for someone else to validate your timing, your worth, your readiness. These 3 days bring you back to the understanding that you are the one who decides when the moment is right. The stars offer their light, but it is your own heart that must take the first step into that light. In moments like these, it's important to pause, not to withdraw, but to observe. Just as a farmer studies the weather before planting seeds, you too can sense the alignment of conditions within and around you. Not everything can be controlled, but much can be chosen. You can choose to return to what nourishes you. You can choose to speak with kindness. You can choose to show up for your life, even if your hands tremble. There is a quiet teaching from the sages that says, when the mind is still and the breath is deep, all answers become clear. Not because they are delivered, but because the noise has faded. This is what these days offer you, a thinning of the noise, a softening of the distractions, so that your own knowing can rise to the surface. Let it speak. Try this. Give yourself 1 hour away from screens, noise, and external demands. Sit with your thoughts. Write them if you'd like. Or simply listen. You'll be surprised at what comes through when there is space for it to arrive. Then, in the morning, create a small ritual, nothing extravagant. A warm cup of lemon water. A song that opens your heart. And 3 simple affirmations. Not just to recite, but to remember. Because these days aren't just about movement. They're about returning. And Taurus, there's a part of you calling to be returned to, a version of you that is calmer, clearer, and deeply ready. Sometimes, the messages we most need come through not as instructions, but as mirrors, quiet reflections of who we are becoming. In this moment, as we continue to walk through the energy of April 4th to 6th, the presence of the Hierophant reminds you that your path isn't meant to look like anyone else's. This card speaks not just of tradition or structure, but of inner alignment, a calling to live in integrity with your values, your wisdom, your quiet truth. It signals that there's a teacher awakening within you, and not because you've mastered everything, but because you've lived through enough to guide with compassion. The world needs more voices like yours, Taurus, voices grounded in patience, lived experience, and steady light. Then comes justice, a balancing force, neither reward nor punishment, but the natural return of energy. If something in your life has felt unfair or one-sided, this card brings a gentle shift. It's not just about outcomes, but about clarity. About seeing things as they are, not as we wish them to be. And in doing so, we restore a certain inner equilibrium. Justice doesn't always arrive as a courtroom victory. Sometimes it arrives in a moment of deep realization, when you stop blaming yourself for what was never yours to carry. These next few days may bring that kind of moment, one that doesn't just change your mind, but opens your heart to release. And then, the 3 of Cups, a symbol of celebration, connection, joy. But not performative joy, not the kind you force for the sake of appearances. This is the kind of happiness that bubbles up when you feel safe, when you're surrounded by people who truly see you. It may show up through a conversation you didn't expect, a message from someone you thought you'd lost, or an unexpected opportunity that reminds you how supported you truly are. And if those things come, welcome them. But even if they don't come in obvious ways, know this: joy multiplies when you let yourself feel it in the small things. A smile exchanged with a stranger. The taste of something warm. A moment of silence that feels like peace. These are also invitations to celebrate. What's unfolding here is more than prediction. It's a remembering that your energy shapes your reality. Not through effort alone, but through resonance. Through becoming the version of you who is already whole. You may have heard that you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And this is where the shift begins, by choosing to embody the energy of trust, gratitude, and possibility, not perfectly, but honestly. With presence. This might be the right time to reflect on the path that's brought you here. Take out a piece of paper and write about the parts of yourself you've reclaimed. The things you've overcome. The moments you thought you wouldn't make it through, but you did. Let that writing remind you of your strength. And if you feel called, share something joyful today, even something tiny. Joy is contagious not because it demands attention, but because it speaks a language deeper than words. It softens the air around you. It invites more of itself in. The wisdom here is simple. When the heart is steady and the mind is clear, life becomes less about chasing and more about allowing. You don't need to strive to be worthy of what's coming. You only need to stand in your truth and receive it, not as a reward, but as a natural return for how far you've already come. Not everything that binds us is visible. Often, the most limiting forces we encounter are the ones we've quietly constructed within, shaped by years of doubt, fear, or the silent pressure to be what others expect. The appearance of the Two of Swords and the Eight of Swords at this moment is not a coincidence. These cards speak not of danger, but of hesitation. Of being stuck not because the path is blocked, but because the eyes that must see it are still closed. And yet, within this stillness, there is something beautiful, the potential to choose again. To see with clarity. To move with intention. There's a quiet teaching that says, the obstacle is never the mountain, but the way we see the mountain. So often, we find ourselves in cycles where our own thoughts become the barriers, where we convince ourselves that we must stay small, that we must wait for permission to act, to leave, to begin. But life doesn't require permission. It requires presence. And these few days offer you an invitation to step back from the noise of expectation and ask yourself honestly, where have I been holding myself back? What beliefs have I accepted as truth, when in fact they are only habits of thinking? You may notice that clarity doesn't always come in the form of answers. Sometimes, it's a sudden stillness in your body when you realize you no longer need to explain yourself. Or the lightness that floods in after releasing something you've been carrying far too long. In this energy, don't be surprised if the shift you need comes not through grand decisions, but through small choices, saying no without guilt, asking for help without shame, or finally making that phone call you've avoided for weeks. These are all signs that your internal compass is realigning with something much deeper than logic, self-trust. It helps to remember that liberation doesn't always look like walking away from something. Sometimes, it looks like turning toward yourself with more patience than ever before. If you've been stuck in a job that no longer reflects your growth, this may be the moment to consider a new path. If you felt invisible in love, perhaps it's time to step back and ask what kind of love you're willing to receive, not just what you're willing to give. And if there's a version of yourself you've been waiting to become, know this: you don't need anyone's approval to begin stepping into it now. In a more grounded sense, the energy of these days is asking for release. Not dramatic rebellion, but gentle surrender. You might try writing down 3 things you're ready to let go of: old stories, self-doubt, or even just outdated routines, and physically letting them go. Tear the paper. Burn it safely. Whisper, "I release the weight of what no longer serves me." This isn't a ritual of magic. It's a moment of truth. A declaration that you are ready to create space for something new. And once that space is created, even just a little, fill it with curiosity. Make a list of things you've always wanted to try but postponed. Choose one. Take a small step. There is no rush, only rhythm. And your rhythm is returning. What you're learning now is that clarity is not something to find, but something to allow. When the mind quiets and the heart softens, what once felt impossible becomes obvious. You don't have to know everything. You only need to know the next right step, and to trust that taking it is already enough. Sometimes, the true shift doesn't happen when we win the competition, but when we realize we no longer need to compete. The energy of the 5 of Wands can feel chaotic at first. It stirs up old insecurities, the desire to prove yourself, the push to be louder, faster, better. But this moment, Taurus, isn't asking you to fight for your place. It's reminding you that your place already exists, and that your light is not meant to overpower others but to simply be witnessed for what it is. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to become unmistakably yourself. As the star rises beside the conflict, a calm emerges. This card doesn't shout. It doesn't demand. It glows. And its message is quiet but powerful: healing is happening, and recognition is near. If you felt misunderstood or unseen, this is your time to trust that the right eyes are finding you. You don't need to chase them down. The world is already shifting to meet the energy you're choosing to embody. And that's the most beautiful kind of alignment, one that doesn't force, but magnetizes. You may notice, between April 4th and 6th, subtle moments where you become more visible, not because you're trying to be, but because your presence is enough. Someone may acknowledge your efforts. A door might open that wasn't open before. A space may be offered for you to speak, share, lead. And even if it's unexpected, it won't feel out of place. That's because you've been doing the inner work long before the outer world caught up. Now, the energy simply mirrors back what you've always carried inside. There is a quiet wisdom often taught by those who've spent a lifetime observing the mind, that real confidence comes not from being better than others, but from no longer comparing at all. When you no longer measure your worth through someone else's path, you free up enormous energy. That energy, once used to seek approval or avoid rejection, becomes the very force that creates your art, shapes your words, strengthens your boundaries, and fuels your dreams. If conflict arises during this time, especially subtle tension with coworkers, friends, or even family, try to see it not as an obstacle, but as an echo of old patterns you're ready to outgrow. Sometimes, disharmony shows up simply to reveal that you've become too big for the cage you once built to stay safe. This is a cue to breathe, to rise a little taller, and to choose differently. Let your response reflect the self-leadership you've been cultivating, steady, grounded, and rooted in quiet knowing. Now would be the perfect time to create a vision board, not as a fantasy, but as a compass. Choose 3 areas of life you want to refine this month: your health, your finances, and your relationships. Don't worry about filling every corner. Instead, choose images or words that feel like where you're going. Let the board become a reminder, not just of what you want, but of who you're becoming. And as you reflect, ask yourself with honesty and tenderness, if I were no longer afraid, what would I do first? Then take one small step toward it. Not because you need to rush, but because motion anchors intention. You are no longer in the stage of hoping something will happen. You're in the quiet bloom of becoming, and Taurus, the world is ready to notice. Let yourself be seen, not for who you think you need to be, but for who you already are when you stop hiding. The star within you was never lost, only waiting for you to believe in its light again. And so, dear Taurus, as we gently close this sacred space we've shared today, I invite you to take one more deep breath, not just to end the moment, but to begin something new. You see, this journey we've walked through together, from uncovering the signs to releasing the past, wasn't just a reading. It was a mirror. A reflection of all that you already carry within: wisdom, resilience, and the quiet courage to choose differently, starting now. From April 4th to 6th, the universe doesn't demand anything from you. It simply extends an invitation to return to yourself, to shed what no longer fits, and to say yes to what you've always known deep down you deserve. But here's the truth: nothing outside you will ever give you permission to rise. That power has always been yours. The door is open. The light is here. The only question now is, will you walk through it? You don't need to wait until you feel perfectly ready. In fact, growth rarely feels like readiness. It often feels like butterflies, like hesitation, like standing at the edge of something uncertain but calling your name anyway. What if you trusted that call? What if you believed, just for today, that your timing is divine and your potential is limitless? What would change if you let that belief guide even one small action? Maybe it's starting that conversation. Maybe it's choosing rest without guilt. Maybe it's finally saying yes to your own dream, the one you've tucked away because it didn't seem practical. Whatever it is, don't wait for the perfect moment. Create it. Because transformation doesn't come from grand gestures. It comes from consistent steps made in alignment with your truth. And now I want to ask you something, not as a reader, but as someone walking this path beside you. What are you ready to let go of? What version of you is waiting to be seen, not by the world, but by you? And what would it mean for you to believe that you are the one you've been waiting for all along? Leave me a comment and tell me, what part of today's message resonated the most with you? What action are you taking this week to step into your next chapter? I would truly love to hear it, and your words may just inspire someone else in this beautiful eternal mindfulness community. If this video offered you clarity, comfort, or even just a moment of peace, I invite you to like it, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe so you never miss another message meant for your soul. Every single one of you who shows up here helps keep this space alive, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Your presence is not only seen, it's deeply felt. Taurus, you've waited long enough. Now it's your time, to rise, to lead, to love, and to live in the glow of your own truth. Don't just dream it. Be it. The light within you is more than enough to guide the way.